Jamar.
And I'm Brianna.
And welcome to the Safe Word Podcast, episode 6. Wow, episode 6. That's what's up. Well, I guess, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, how do you think we've progressed so far?
Yeah, it's really funny. I was just about to ask you to reflect on how you feel like the first 5 episodes were. But since you asked me first, I feel as though we've definitely progressed. We're still trying out this new space. Still trying out different microphones, trying to bring the best product to you, okay? So that we can,
I'm sorry, that was funny.
So we can deliver top quality product to you guys in the safe space. The breast. Listen, it's all about the breast.
I've been in such a goofy mood today, guys. Like, everything is hilarious.
She's even laughing at my jokes. Intentionally, which is something, because usually she loves to say how I'm not funny.
He's not funny.
Okay.
You know, he has his little moments, but for the most part, he's not really funny.
Anyway, how do you feel we've progressed in these past 5 episodes?
I think we've progressed very, very nicely. I'm really happy with how things are going and how we're getting better and better with each episode. Yeah, I love it. We're doing good.
Doing good.
Doing good.
Not too bad, huh?
Not too shabby.
Excellent. Well, guys, welcome to another episode. We definitely appreciate you guys coming through and watching every week, submitting your comments, your feedback. Definitely want to shout out friend of the show, Soraya, and shout out West Mia too. So you got 2 fly over there. But specifically Soraya, because she definitely came for me for last week's podcast episode. She definitely came for me. She's a fan of reality TV, and she had some thoughts.
Like me.
Like you. And she had some thoughts, and she challenged me on them, and I really appreciated it. So I figured I would go ahead and shout her out on the podcast. And she is one half of a group called 2 Fly, which is why I shouted out West Mia as well. We do want to say happy belated birthday to West Mia.
Happy birthday, girl.
One time for the birthday chick. But, you know, it's a proof that sometimes you're going to say something that's not necessarily going to be liked by everybody, but that's great, because that's why we made this podcast. If you don't agree with something that I say, that's fine. But as long as you are in the safe space and you can communicate effectively, that's the only way that we're going to be able to grow. And if you feel as though you're going to say something that is controversial, that's where the safe word comes in, which, funny enough, we'll bring it up right now. The safe word of the week is marshmallow. That's what she was going to say.
Wasn't it your turn to?
It's okay. Either one of us could say it, but clearly you forgot.
Oh yeah, I definitely forgot.
Today's safe word is marshmallow. So just to recap, if you feel like you're about to say something controversial, you feel like you want to say something that people may not agree with, or if you just want to get something off your chest, you're going to drop that safe word right there. You're going to say marshmallow, and then say whatever statement you want to say.
There it is.
There it is. There it ain't. So let's start with question number 1. Today's first question is going to be, when is the right time to get married?
When do you think is the right time to get married?
Mm-hmm. And since I asked, you answered, as I watch intently.
When do I think is the right time to get married? Well, are we talking about age, or are we talking about like feelings? Or are we talking about duration of the relationship?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I think the wrong time to get married is probably when you're super young, like 18, 19. I've had a few friends, not a few, but I've had like a couple of friends that got married super early, like right out of high school. Like before we were even enrolled in college yet, they were already married and like getting ready to have kids. So I personally think that that's too young, because you still have so much to see, you still have so much to do. Like your whole life is ahead of you, and I feel like part of being able to contribute to a good relationship and a good marriage, I feel like you have to experience some things, you know, that you might not necessarily experience when you're younger, like 18. And there's also some things that you're going to have to talk to your partner about that might be difficult, like finances, mortgage, buying a house, where you guys are going to live. And I don't know, I just feel like at 18, that's a little too young. So I think that's the wrong time. The right time, I feel like whenever you and your partner feel like you're ready to make that next step and that next jump, then go for it. I don't think there's necessarily a right time to get married. You know how some people are like, oh no, we have to be together for 2 years, at least 2 years before we get married, or oh, you have to pop the question after 3 years. I can't wait any longer than that. Like, I feel like you and your partner should have an understanding of when you guys think that you're ready to tie the knot and get married. So yeah, that's pretty much my answer.
So just to sum it up, your answer is when you feel
like you're ready. I mean, listen, my parents got married after 7 months, okay? And they're still together. They're about to celebrate, 25 years, I want to say, next year? 25 years of marriage. And they're still strongly in love, growing in love every day, still learning stuff about each other. And it's beautiful. And a lot of people would be like, oh, that is way too quick. Like, you don't even know the person by then. But that's what worked for them. So I really think it depends on you and your partner and when you guys feel like you're ready to take that next step. Some people, it might be 10 years. So you never know.
Yeah. Yeah. I find it interesting that you have that stance when it comes to the whole age thing, because I know a lot of people being too young. I know a lot of people who would disagree with you. That might have even been a safe word worthy moment. But
really?
Yeah, but you feel how you feel. You said what you said. So I'll challenge that a little bit, because I think that when it comes to when you should get married, it's like she said, I agree that it's definitely a conversation that you guys need to have and be comfortable with, and not let outside pressures dictate what you want to do. But I also feel as though sometimes it's a geographical situation. So for example, if I'm in Miami, if we live in Miami, where there's such a strong city life, we may not want to be married because there's so many. We may not want to even be locked down because there's so many things to explore. There's so many things to do, But if you're in like Podunk, Mississippi, or something, and there's nothing really to do but agriculture, cattle racing, and other things like taking your cousin to prom. I don't know what they do over there. What they do over there may not be as exciting. So I could understand people getting married younger. But those are just two examples. It really does depend on where you are. I think that it's more about emotional maturity. I think we talked a little bit about that last week. Being emotionally ready, being emotionally mature enough to entertain the idea of marriage. Because there are a lot of successful marriages that came straight from high school. You heard those stories, high school sweethearts, 40 years later they're still married and have grandchildren and great-grandchildren, etc. So it depends on what you and your partner want to do, and I think the best thing you could do is communicate effectively with your partner. Let them know what you want and what you don't want. If you're not ready for it, communicate that. If you're ready for it, communicate that. If it's something that you're just trying to have a good time, and like she said, if you're too young and you don't want to lock down anybody and you're just trying to have a good time, communicate that, because that's more important than saying by 25 you need to be married. I'll give you an example. For me, I had a false idea in my head when I was younger, because most dudes don't think about this, but I was raised by females. My dad, my mom, my grandma, my two sisters pretty much raised me, so my dad was outnumbered, and I used to think differently. I would always say, okay, by 25 I'm gonna be married. No, what did I say? I used to say, yeah, by 25 I'd be married, and by 28 I would have kids. So I'd have 2 to 3 years to just be with my wife. Flash forward, I'm 31 and not married, don't have any kids, and I'm perfectly happy. So I don't think that there's necessarily an age limit. I think, like I said, it's more of a state of being and a state of mind, and also location. LA, New York, Miami. People probably aren't as, antsy to go get married, but maybe Mississippi, Oregon, places like that.
I also think, and also like if you're old school, because I still have some aunties that ask me every time that I talk to them, when am I getting married? And I'm just like, can I just enjoy my life, please?
And that's another thing.
Please.
Oh my gosh. You people out there, sometimes you have sometimes you have the best intentions in mind, but y'all need to chill. And we're not even just only speaking about our relationship, but you know how many times my friends would come to me and they'd be like, I'm with this girl, or she'll say I'm with this guy or whatever, and if things are going good for 3 months, everybody's talking about wedding and baby and this and that. Like, y'all need to relax. Y'all live your life.
Slow.
Okay? Y'all live your life. Let your people live their life. Don't try to force them into some idea, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna make them feel like if they don't attain what it is that you're talking about, that they're a failure. I have somebody in my family that didn't get married for a long time, and everybody's always like, when are you gonna get married? When are you gonna get married? And she always said, this is something that's been weighing on me because I don't have a husband, and everybody is expecting, especially in the Haitian household, everybody's expecting by the time you're 30 years old, you gotta be married, have kids, and start the next generation. So don't do that to your people, especially not your children or your grandchildren. Grandma. I know my grandma watches every episode, and she's always like, you need to have kids, you need to get married, etc., etc. I'm like, you gotta vibe, bro, vibe.
Bye.
Chill. Get them vive. Let me live.
Oh.
Let me live my life.
Keep
them.
Vive.
Good job.
I'm Haitian
Creole
by
today.
association, guys.
There you go. Good job. And I think that's all we got to say about that. But super interested to see what you guys think. Is there a right time to be married? If so, when is it? Is it based on age? Is it based on location? Is it based on finance? What do you feel? We didn't even touch on the finance thing. That's another aspect. If you ain't got it, you ain't got it. If you wanna wait until your finances are stable before you decide to get married and move to that next level, then you need to have that conversation, and hopefully your partner will understand that. Because there's no use in you getting married and being broke together. All you're gonna do is share an account that has $0 in it. There's no point.
No point. That's just sad. Doesn't look good. Not a good look.
Not a good look.
All right, so ready for question number 2?
Let's do it.
All right. So question number 2 is, would you still love and support your child if they committed a major crime?
Ooh.
Let me know. Let them know. Let us
Yeah.
know.
Would you still love and support, keyword, your child if they committed a major crime? I think that you're always going to love your children. They came from you. They're your seeds. You raise them. I think you're always going to love your child. It's difficult to say that you're going to always support them if they've done something horrible. I specifically remember watching a TED Talk by the lady who was the mother of the Columbine shooters. And you don't always think about the people who are left behind, the people who are associated with the people who are doing bad things. You kind of just put the focus on that person. So like for years, for decades, she was getting just like super evil things sent to her. And I understand that people are angry and they have to, I guess, let out their frustration, but they were doing horrible things to her and sending things to her and death threats and everything. And, as a parent, and we're not parents, so we can't 100% answer that, but as a parent, it's a super difficult thing to even think about. You hope that you would do the right thing. You raise your kids, if you're religious, you raise them in the church, you teach them good values, you teach them good morals, and the next thing you know, they're on the news because they held up a corner store. or they're in the news because they did a Stone Cold Stunner, wrestling move like Lionel Tate, and killed a girl, and it's it goes to jail. Like that was a big deal back in Miami back in the day. Lionel Tate did the Stone Cold Stunner and killed somebody. It's tough. I would like to say, like I said, I would always love my child. And for the most part, if it's an accident, then yes, I'm going to support them. I'm going to stand by them 100%. If you did something like you accidentally, damage someone, or you accidentally damage property or whatever, but if you're telling me that you purposefully committed like an act of terror, like Dylan Roof, or the DC sniper who was black, it's a no for me, dog. I think I might have to write you out the will. I'm always love you, but I can't do it. If he was intentional, I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you there. I mean, like you said, you're always gonna love your child no matter what. But I'm sorry, if you were my child and you did something crazy, like, I don't know, threatened to blow up the Capitol or something like that, I would be like, look, I love you, but he was trying to blow up the Capitol, and like, I would rat you out. I'm sorry.
Damn, you gonna snitch on our kid?
Yeah, sure would.
You gonna snitch on our future children?
If you were doing something like that, like something major like that,
but they didn't do it though.
Well, planning on doing it, like, you couldn't really imagine stuff like that, because it's like in your mind you're like, well, I'm never gonna raise my son that way, but sometimes like things happen that you can't control, like chemical imbalances or stuff like that. Like I don't know if it was an article that I read or someone that I was talking to, but I remember, I don't know if it was a Virginia Tech shooter.
Mm-hmm.
One of the mass shooters, I don't remember exactly what school it was, but he was the one who was, I think, like on the balcony or something like that, and he was just picking people and just literally shooting them with a I don't know if it was an AK-47. I don't remember what type of gun it was, but he was just shooting them randomly out of nowhere, and for what reason he didn't even know. And I think later on they found out that he had some type of tumor in his brain, but I don't remember exactly like what side or whatever. But it was the side that like controls your, I guess, decision making. I think I'm probably not giving you all the details. Well, I'm not giving you all the details because I don't really remember it. But it was something like that. Like he had a tumor on one part of his brain, and they suspect that that was part of the reason why he just up and did that out of nowhere. So it's like sometimes things happen and you have chemical imbalances or things that cause you to do really crazy things. But I love you, but I ain't supporting you. You gotta go.
You got to go.
You gotta go.
You know you got
I'll
to
visit
go.
you in jail. I mean prison. But that's it.
You gonna visit? Well, look, I'll tell you. Like I said, if it's something that is accidental, or if you're standing up for your rights, if you, let's say, you're a part of the Black Panthers back in the 70s, 80s, and you were standing up for your rights. That's one thing. But the question specifically states if your child committed, an atrocity, pretty much. If your child committed a heinous crime, murder, domestic terrorism, armed robbery, molestation, infanticide, any of these horrible things, I'll tell you this much: if it was molestation or infanticide or anything like that involving the family, I'll be in jail right next to that person, or that person might not be here. I don't care if it's my son, daughter, anybody. And anybody who knows me knows I'm a family person, and I will do anything for my family. If my child is doing something crazy, I'm not gonna be like one of those old Lifetime movies where they sweep it under the rug if little Donna's being touched by Uncle Jeff. No, it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna be that one that stands up and puts Uncle Jeff's butt out the house, or worse. At that point, I will call the cops because you're talking about a defenseless child. Mm-hmm. There's so many different ways that it can go that that we haven't even touched on yet. We just talked about, like I said, terrorism. We talked about molestation. We talked about things like that. But you can only support so much. At the end of the day, you try to do your best to raise your kids how you want them to be in this world, how you would hope that they turn out. And the tricky thing about that is that God gave each and every one of us free will. So no matter how hard you try, and no matter how much you try, you feel like you're to blame, sometimes you're not. Sometimes, like she said, it is a chemical imbalance. Although I don't want to overuse that excuse, but sometimes it is a mental disorder. Sometimes the person that just has evil in them. You think that Charles Manson's parents necessarily raised him to be the way that he was? That's a evil dude. How can you support that? How can you support a police officer? That's a good one. How can you support a police officer who actively seeks out minorities to harass, and then one day shoots them? The lady who shot the dude, Botham Jean, in his apartment because she thought that it was her apartment. And you're her parents. How do you support that? You still love her. Can you support her? Can you stand by her during that time?
Now, if my child was standing up for something like greater and they committed a crime, like maybe there was a serial killer or something around and my child knew who it was and ended up killing them, I guess to save other people, then it's like, would you still support them?
You asking me?
Yeah.
If you committed a crime for the greater good?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I stand right by you. That's why I said, like, if you, that's why I said if, like, for example, someone in the family was molesting someone else, a child in the family, I'd say I would go to jail. I would be, I promise you, I would be in jail. Because I don't play around with that. If my child was in the same shoes, did something like that, like let's say we have kids, God willing, one day they grow up, in their 20s, 30s, whatever, and they see that happen and they do something about it, I'm going to support them. What's going to happen if, God forbid, we have a daughter and the daughter's boyfriend is abusive, right? And then we have a son and the son goes and beats up the brother and goes to jail. That's a crime.
That's a crime, but is it a major crime? I guess we have to identify what a major crime is.
Well, yeah. What do you guys think? We could go on and on about that particular topic. What do you guys think? I really, really want to know. We really want to know. What do you feel like? Do you feel like there's a moment where there's a line that's drawn where you can support and you cannot? I just want to also bring to attention the fact that we don't think about, like I said, the loved ones and the relatives of these people who commit crimes, who are acting independently. I think sometimes the popular thing to think is that if someone commits a crime, then the entire family is like that and they raise them to be like that. We raise you to be a domestic terrorist, or we raise you to be this. And sometimes the way that you think is like that. The way that you, the beliefs that you instilled in your child does lead them to act in that way. So I'm not excusing that. I'm not saying it's not possible, but it's not every single case. And sometimes there are those rare exceptions where you were raised in a great family and you just decided to do something real stupid. And now you have your parents looking like, who is this person? Mm-hmm. So we wanted to talk about that, but neither of us are parents, obviously, as we stated, but we wanted to talk about that because it's a question that was on our mind. And, if you disagree with us, or if you have an opposing view to what most would say, I still want you guys to go ahead and comment. Use the safe word of the week, which is marshmallow. Say what's on your mind, Do you know? Nope. Yeah, so there's that. We're going to go on and move to topic number 3.
Topic number 3, which is actually my favorite topic of the night.
It's a lighter topic. We're going to transition into a lighter topic because that was a little heavy.
Yeah, that was a little heavy. So, topic number 3 is, what is your ideal first date? What's your ideal first date? What?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Well, I went first last time.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So what is your ideal first date?
My ideal first date actually is pretty simple, and it doesn't cost a lot of money. I think my ideal first date is, okay, I'm going to literally like plan it out. Okay, so my ideal first date is, he picks me up. It's gonna be a daytime activity because I think I enjoy things during the day more than at night. So it's gonna be a daytime activity. He's gonna pick me up, maybe like around 12 or 1. We're gonna go on a boat ride in Bayside because I really like Bayside. I've only been to Bayside one time and I fell in love with it. And I love boat rides, so I just feel like the whole Bayside area and then going on a boat would just be perfect. So we're gonna go on a boat ride and drink some margaritas, and then we're gonna talk about, each other's lives to get to know each other. And then we are going to go to a restaurant. Does Bayside have Margaritaville?
I don't think so.
Well, we're gonna go to some type of restaurant where we can sit and eat because I'll be hungry by then.
When are you not hungry?
Exactly. So we're gonna go eat, and then after that, we're gonna go maybe take the boat ride back to wherever we parked or whatever, and we're gonna go to the beach and have a picnic with some more drinks.
So you're going to eat and then go to the beach and then have a picnic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
with more food.
But a picnic has like light food, like snacks, like sandwiches, fruit, crackers, sometimes fried chicken, but I don't really like fried chicken like that. So.
Oh my God!
You don't like fried chicken?
No, not really.
I know she don't like fried chicken. I'm just playing with y'all. I might take a black coffee.
I know, I'm like one of the only black people that don't really like fried chicken, but yeah, it is. I mean, I like chicken. I like baked chicken, but fried,
Not so much.
not so much. I mean, I'll eat it if it was like the only thing to eat and I was starving. But other than that, no. I don't really like it. But yeah, that's my ideal first date. And then after the picnic, he'll take me home. And we'll say goodnight. And that's my ideal first date. It's not that much. It's not costly. I'm a simple person.
Yeah, maybe, but that explanation was not simple. That was a very detailed. Leave it to a woman to be extremely detailed. By 12 o'clock, we'll be going this, and by 12:05, we'll be here. By 12:05 and 30 seconds, he'll open the door for me. And by 1:30,
yeah,
our waiter will come by with our margaritas. And you don't even like tequila, so I don't know where the margaritas came from.
Well, I like some margaritas. And I just feel like on a boat, that's what you drink, margaritas. But I wanted you guys to visualize it, Like whenever I'm listening to a story, I like to visualize. So I just wanted to help you guys with that.
I feel like this is one of those moments where the characteristics of male versus female really shine through, because when I was going to answer, mind you, keep in mind, guys, we don't talk about our answers in advance. So a lot of the times when we have a general idea what the person might say, but a lot of the times when we say things, the other person's hearing it for the first time. So in my mind, I thought it was going to be a simple answer, but she really threw me for a loop. So now I have to go ahead and get creative, and I need to think about it. So, let's cue the Jeopardy music. Okay. I think for me, I've got it. Got it. For me, I think my ideal first date, if you know me, then you know this is not going to surprise you. It would have to have something with music. So I would say daytime is great too. I would say like maybe a park with jazz or a day festival going on.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I think that is much more in my lane. I would love to have some type. So like, for example, anybody who's watching in South Florida, you know that in Hollywood Beach on the weekends they have live music. So, stealing a little bit of your idea, Margaritaville is right next to the stage that Hollywood Beach is in. and they have live music. It would be great if we could go to Margaritaville, maybe have lunch, and then go and sit and watch the show, and then be able to talk afterwards. Take a walk down the beach. Anything that really involves music, not necessarily going in the beach because I'm not that big of a beach fan. Like I like the atmosphere of the beach, if it's overcast because I don't tan, I burn. And I'm not someone who likes to put on sunblock, so it's not a good look. You'll see me today on a first date, and then 2 days later, you won't recognize me because I'll be burnt. But I think the concept of having music playing while we're doing things, like getting to know each other, is ideal. Also, probably more my lane would be if we take that idea and we put it at night. So I give you two options. She gave you a detailed explanation. I gave you two options. Something like an open mic night, a Love Jones type of night, where you have the jazz playing or the R&B playing or whatever. You have cocktails flowing. Everybody's dressed nicely. There's a host. It's something that I think is my speed. Anybody who knows me, I do music and I'm also a DJ, so music is everything to me. And I would love to start the night off by exploring, what it is that we really are into, and that's one of the things that I'm really into. So I think that sets the atmosphere pretty nicely. Also, I have a feeling that music allows people to loosen up, and maybe it's because I have the experience of DJing. But when you're having great music on top of great conversation, it really loosens you up, and you're able to get to know that person a little bit better.
Yeah, but how can you guys hear each other if you're like at a concert, or not a concert, but like a jazz festival?
It's not a festival. It's jazz playing in the background. So typically at these, if it's the daytime and you have concerts, you're not sitting front row to where you can't hear anything. You are probably watching from further in the back. And if it's the nighttime, then you're in the beginning. Typically they have a DJ or a band that's playing softer before the actual performers start. So you can use that time to really talk to each other for a little bit, and then when the show starts, you can pass words along here and there while enjoying each other's company. I think it's romantic because it's kind of a catalyst to sharing those feelings, like especially if you really feel that person. Like if you and I went to an open mic night for our first night, or not even so much an open mic night, but a performance night for our first date, because of the way that we were so connected from the start. We had instant chemistry. I feel like it would have worked out well for us.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I love open mic nights and stuff like that. I actually really, really enjoy that. But I don't know if I would go on a first date there, because it's like, I feel like on a first date you're supposed to converse. Like that's when you really figure out and find out who this person is. So there's a lot of talking involved, and I feel like you can't really do that at an open mic night because it's kind of noisy, I guess. Or you're gonna be paying attention to the acts and stuff like that. Like I would definitely go on a date there, but I don't know about a first date.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what. Marshmallow, I don't feel like you always have to use your first date as your chatterbox date. I don't think that it's necessary for you to spend your first date talking 90% of the time. Like most people want to say, oh, the whole dinner and the movies thing on the first date is played out because you're not even able to get to know that person that well. You're just blah, blah, blah. Dates are about feelings just as much as they are about words. And sometimes somebody can talk a real good game and they can give you great lip service and they're not worth shit. So you have to also feel the person, feel the vibe that the person gives you. And like I said, music is a key catalyst to help you to feel the bond that you guys may or may not share, the chemistry that you guys are building. Don't get me wrong, it's important to get to know that person and to have conversations, but you can also have a lot of those conversations in and around that date, on your way to the date, afterwards, during the intermission, while you're going to get a drink, whatever, while the host says something funny and you guys share a quick word. It's a lot about taking the opportunity and using the surroundings to shape, how the night's gonna go. And like I said, even something as simple as going for a walk after you go on that date. You're able to.
Be a long walk.
Not necessarily.
Yes, you have to get to know the person. That date is where you should be spending the most talking.
But
like,
you don't have to. You don't have to cram 5 dates into one date.
I'm not saying you have to cram 5 dates into one date, but that's when you're getting to know the person for the first time. Your first impression is your lasting impression.
I disagree. I strongly disagree. And not in everything she's saying, because I do believe that your first date is an important date, and I do believe that you should communicate with that person. But as I said, I don't feel like you have to cram 5 dates worth of conversation into one date. I believe that if you are good at what you do, which is communicating, like myself, then you know that you can let certain things play out through future dates, and for me, the vibe is more important than anything. She could tell me whatever she wants to say. She could look as good as she wants, which she does all the time. But
thank you, baby.
if I don't feel it, I don't feel it. If I don't have that chemistry, I don't have it. And no words that she says could change that about me. So that's how I feel. Marshmallow, don't come for me.
I mean, I guess we're just gonna have to agree to disagree. I feel like your first date, you don't have to cram 5 dates into that one day, but the majority of that date should be spent conversing with each other, should be spent talking to each other, getting to know each other. And you just can't do that in certain places. It's too loud.
But that's your opinion, though. In your
Of course.
In your opinion, you feel that. I know plenty of situations that are not like that. I know a lot of people who their first date wasn't like that. Their first date was a baseball game, or their first date was
You can still talk
whatever.
at a baseball game. You're watching a game.
But not really, because it's super loud. It's loud out there. We're not talking about
it's loud, but I don't think it's loud. I don't think it's louder than an open mic night, to be honest. Number one. Number two, I feel like you're like right next to each other. The stands are small in a baseball game, so you're literally right next to each other.
But you're also right next to each other in an open mic night, because you're sitting there watching the show.
Yeah.
You're watching the show, like, hey, we're watching the show, and we're next to each other.
Yeah, but it's loud. Open mic nights are usually like at clubs or lounges.
No, they're at lounges.
Clubs or lounges or stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know. I wouldn't go on a first date there. I mean, I wouldn't tell a guy no if that's what he offers, but it wouldn't be my first choice. But that's cool for you.
It wouldn't be your first choice, but remember, we both have our first choices. You displayed and explained yours to a T. Very intricately.
I just feel like the boat is nice and quiet, like more quiet. More.
But unless you're
intimate.
talking about a private boat, you're not gonna get that at Bayside. You're gonna get a boat with a whole bunch of tourists and a whole bunch of people who are talking and getting drunk and want you to take pictures of them. And they.
Oh no, we'll be in the back, the bike.
The bike.
Yeah, enjoying ourselves.
No matter where you are, you're still gonna be, unless you have that money, on a boat in Bayside. You're gonna be with 50 other people. But that's your opinion. I have mine. What's your opinion? What do you guys think? I like this. I like the fact that we're able to have strong opinions and opposing opinions on that, and hopefully you guys have something to say in the comment section. Let's make sure we engage in the safe space. Make sure you guys use the word if you're about to say something. Marshmallow. If you're gonna say something that's, that may be controversial. We really wanna what is it? Ignite and provoke that conversation. So holla at us, okay? The Safe Word Podcast at gmail.com, Instagram at the Safe Word Podcast, and of course you're watching it on YouTube, so it's YouTube, and then you search the Safe Word Podcast. I think that's it, right?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Awesome. Well,
our 3 topics for the week.
Yeah, 3 topics for the week. Make sure you guys definitely tune in for the next week. We have some surprises for you guys down in the pipeline, so we are really excited. We're not quite at the announcement stage yet, but we're working on some things behind the scenes, and we're listening to what you guys are saying, and we're really super excited to show you guys what we have in store. Until then, have a great night. My name is Jamar.
And I'm Brianna.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Peace.